I still have some of your stuff since the last time you rage quit on me. It reminds me of all the good times we had.
Maybe I just didn't shoot you enough.
Maybe you wanted to
shoot me more instead. Flying without you is more than I can bear. Keep looking over my shoulder, hoping to see you there.
come fly with us. Won't you lend a helping hand? Come fly with us. Let the good times never end. Walk in undone
Fuck happened to
and fly with us and die with us, my friend.
How do we? Yeah.
We write our names in the skies.
There is fire in our eyes. Dare to dream as we gaze upon the stars.
Every miner longs for eyes, like a burger needs its fries.
Friendship never dies, the world is tough.
Flying without you is more than I can bear. Keep looking over my shoulder, hoping to see you there. No one scans me down and blows me up like you do. Burns right through the armor of my heart.
Our hosts collide and everything goes pew pew.
Let us all unite so we can tear each other apart. Come fly with us. Won't you lend a helping hand? Come fly with us. Let the good times never end. Lock in undone and fly with us and die with us, my friend. Fly with us. Won't you lend a helping hand? Come fly with us. Let the good times never end. Lock in undone and fly with us and die with us, my friend. I still have some of your stuff since the last time you rage quit on me. It reminds me of all the good times we had.
Maybe I just didn't shoot you enough.
Maybe you wanted to
Shoot me more instead.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the Easter episode of Push to Talk. I'm here joined by McLeod, who I caught right in mid-drink there. That was perfect timing on my part.
Yeah.
What are you drinking? See, I
am drinking Kronenberg 1664.
Oh, there you go. And we got RW joining us from down there where the weather is warm.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Nice to have you with us, RW. It's been a while. And we Caleb's Easter breaking, as well as RJ's working his butt off moving, and Scythe is working today. So you're stuck with the three of us. So we're sitting here on the I guess it's the Easter week show, the Masters week show, all that good stuff that we love in real life. So welcome, audience. So we have a couple things to talk about today, and I think we're gonna start it off with talking about what do you want to start, McLeod? We have a couple topics there. I'll let you pick the topic we start with.
I don't know. Do we want to talk about like recent news and stuff, like in Eve and what have you, or do we want to go into like do we do the news first and then go into like interesting kind of other non-Eve related things, or do you want to do non-Eve related things and then come back?
And Port 66 is telling us it is also Final Four weekend for those who are following the NCAA. But since my university sucks ass this year, I mean, really, worst ever. I haven't even followed it. I couldn't bring my heart to do it. Couldn't even fill out a bracket
Tournament.
So yeah, it's very sad when I don't like professional basketball, but I really like college basketball for some reason. I don't know why, and it's just sad for me. So I can't talk about it. So let's move on to the Masters, where my wife literally hides every day for dinner. She comes in, she'll make dinner, and then she says, "I'm going with my friends. We're going to go run," and she leaves my kids and me to eat dinner without her because she knows it's going to be like all golf all week, right from the par 3 tournament on. And she's going to be like, I'm not going to be here. It's her least favorite sport. It is my most favorite sport next to hockey.
Well, at least in golf, you don't have your competitors basically like, taking sandpaper to the ball. So, you got that.
How do you know? I'm actually thinking about what you just said, right? And I play a couple tournaments a year. Usually calls hockey a sport. Oh no. And we stole it from the Canadians. Okay. Thank God we didn't steal their bacon. We have to work that into the show. You think when they have really fast greens, if you take a sandpaper to the golf ball you putt with, would it roll slower? Would it give you an advantage? I wonder.
It would definitely fly a little bit differently.
It would have to be much slower.
Because if you've never seen a golf ball in your life, like, firstly, how have you got to this point where you haven't seen a golf ball your entire life? But they have these little pits in them. Like little kind of pits that I think they positively affect the aerodynamics, keep it stable, that kind of thing, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
If you sandpaper half of that off, then surely the thing is going to fly in a really weird way.
Actually, I was thinking about just roughing it up a little bit, making it roll slower on fast greens.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Just the one you
might
putt
be
with.
onto something there.
Just the one you putt with, right? Because you certainly don't want it sandpaper. You don't want to sandpaper up and make one smooth to fly through the air because you
would lose a lot of distance.
Right, those dimples give you distance. So, yeah, and we're talking Stanley Cup. Just as long as no Stanley Cups for Ovechkin, because I hate him. Sorry if there's any Washington Capital fans out there. I weep for you.
Yeah, so if you've just joined us, welcome to Push to Talk, where we discuss how to cheat in sport.
Well, no, we were hypothesizing whether it would give you an advantage.
Right. This is the way that was. Just the way that we're going about that topic.
I have been privileged enough to play Oakmont a few times, and let me tell you, it truly is like you're playing on glass on those greens. It's amazing. No, let's talk about where do we find content in Eve? Because to some people it seems you only have Europeans, so we don't get
Gita.
those weird American sport references.
Jita content, best content.
Cheetah is where all the content is.
Jita's where all the content is. Is it
Yes.
really? I'm thinking,
Confirmed.
you know, if you're in the Imperium and you are truly sitting there saying, I don't know how to get PAPs, I don't know where the PAPs are, nobody's doing anything, there's no pings or something like that, I gotta tell you, there's a tremendous amount of content out there. And this is where you integrate with your SIGs and squads within Goonswarm, and you will be having a blast. They are out there blowing crap up constantly.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, SIGs and squads were the best thing that Goonswarm have ever created to bring a multi-alliance community together. Like, honest to God.
You know, when we thought about where we were going with our corporation, by the way, Chad is hilarious, right?
So Smack says the content's in Imperium Alliance.
You know, sometimes it is, but I stay away from Alliance chat. I just don't go there. It's scary.
It's cancer.
Hey, hold it. New player starting in October.
I would have
Hours
thought
worth of content every day. It isn't just it happens when it happens. It's true. It's true. It happens, but like McLeod was saying, SIGs and squads, right? You are more likely to see more content when you want it, when you're in there. I just
if you're in multiple, if you're in multiple SIGs and squads, like you can be in different parts of the galaxy. Like, no, not only doing your alliance and your corp kind of stuff, but like also you'll be being pinged by you know, I don't know, like all sorts of things. Like, I mean, if is Boat still doing bombers, or has that been handed to somebody else? Still, has he started that up again? I used to be in Bomberwaff, and like that was
I used to
like
be
that was
too.
always like random content, like in the middle of nowhere. Like we'd go through some wormholes, we'd deploy up to like random places. Like I would not be surprised if, like, you know, in this sort of situation that Boat, if he was like if he's still doing it, would basically go, okay guys, we're deploying to like Venal and like gonna basically hot drop and kill as many things as we can around that area.
Absolutely, and Danubian is saying, hey, he just needs a fully fit vigil, and he can just, you know, all the time, you know, every 3 hours he's seeing something. You know, I like closing fire, right? His content involves making large sums of ISK and then spending it all and being perpetually broke. I mean, hey.
See, I'm with Closing Fire. I mean, it's like yesterday I dropped 26.5 billion ISK on really nothing because I have nothing to show for it.
Jesus.
Now let's talk about that, right? Because I conned, and that's the exact word I'm going to use. I conned RW into playing Eve. Okay, RW was streaming, and I said, "Come play Eve with us. We'll get you enough ISK to plex your account, and you'll have fun, right?" And what are you laughing? Right? It's true. And and now, you know, he's sitting there going, "Yeah, I just, you know, has it even been a year, RW? I don't even know, right?" He's like, I just dropped 20.
Coming up on a year and a half.
Yeah, I dropped 26 billion on something. I guess Delve has been good to you.
The fuck? Like that is not normal trajectory for an Eve player. Like I'm coming from like 9 to 10 years of experience. Like after 1 year, if you're dropping 26 bill on something and then not really having much to show for it and just going, yeah, whatever. Like that is like, you don't know how rich you are. Like,
right.
Like if I had 26 million, like
at a year and a half,
like I would think I was doing quite well.
Yeah, I'm not even sure after my first year and a half I had figured out, and this is a long time ago, how to make my first billion, let alone what you just dropped.
It took me so long to make my first billion, and then when I had my first billion, it disappeared, and then I felt bad. I was really quite gutted about that.
I know.
Like I didn't get it like scammed off me or anything like that. But like when you go past that $1 bill mark on your wallet, you kind of feel like you've achieved something somehow, and then like someone comes up with a different doctrine, you have to buy into that. And
Yeah.
it goes under $1 billion, and you're like, oh,
The one thing I've gotten over is packing up my suitcase carrier and going on deployment. Right? Screw that. I just interceptor out, buy what I need there, use it or lose it, sell anything I have left on the market just to get out of it and scepter home. It's just so much easier.
you know what? That's what Spanx did.
Yeah.
Like he basically, whenever he deployed somewhere, like because he predominantly flew Sabres and that kind of thing,
Mhm.
he wouldn't go. He doesn't need to take a any kind of suitcase carrier filled to the brim with ships. Like he literally just went to the deployment location and bought his ships there. And when the deployment had finished, he just sailed them and then flew a scepter back.
That's
Easiest
what I
thing.
do. I fly a scepter there. I'll buy a couple of ships there that I need for PvPing, and if they're still around when we're ready to head back home, then yeah, I'll hand them over to somebody, let them take them home for me, and I just scepter it back home. Sometimes I'll scepter it there and not even buy a ship. I'll just go PvP in the scepter, and that's it.
Yeah, Danubian's saying he's having loads of fun PvPing and take all that ISK off fat, lazy, rich, working goons. We don't care because we're fat, lazy, and rich. In fact, if you are in the Imperium or Goon Swarm, make sure that you check out the forums and answer the Goon census that Aerith is running. He would like to know more about you as a Goon. I promise there is no "Are you a citizen of Delve?" question on the census this year, so we're good. Port 66 is handing out special interest loans to people who need
Seems
them.
to be
Apparently,
asking people if they want loans everywhere.
yes,
So
he says
he's-
if you need a loan,
he clearly
see Port
has
66.
he clearly has too much money than sense.
I'm sure the interest rate will be accommodating, especially for McLeod.
I'm sure Eve's bank interest rate was pretty good until they got fucking like scammed and then ended up being broke.
It's terrible.
Just saying.
I have to find that post now.
Oh, when you had, Mira Richblood is talking about when we used to mine in battleships. I remember when I actually mined in a battleship because the fucking Roke was killer for that. It could just mine so much. It just had no freaking cargo hold.
I used to salvage in an Octus until I realized how awkward and annoying that is to pack up and move. So I now salvage how I used to salvage in a destroyer. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Threaten wants to know, of the three of us, who is the most Eve rich? Are you including total assets or just pure ISK there, Threaten?
If we're talking liquid ISK, I'm not rich at all. I may have like $7 bill.
That's not too bad. I probably have
But,
I'd probably have 30 or 40 bill.
I bought a bunch of Galaxy packs, like on 50% off. Like
Oh, nice.
From, I think like I bought 3 or 4 of them. I've got 3 of my accounts plexed for like 9 months or something ridiculous like that already. And it's given me approximately 30 billion in assets that I'm just sitting on in Jitter.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
I think the last
Well,
time.
I'm going to log in right now and see what my net worth is.
You mean you don't have J-Eve assets? I can just. I'm not going to pull it up. I think the last time I looked it up across all my accounts, it was close to 200 billion. I don't really try and make ISK. Let's put it that way. I don't. I mean, I make ISK for what I want, but I'm not like Aerith. I don't try and get trillions and trillions.
Actually, I was watching one of the Talking in Sections episodes back to find some clips for Matterall for the upcoming FanFest. Not FanFest. It's FanFest. And I came across the Aerith one and like that moment where he was basically like he was he was slightly upset slash kind of shocked that that Madrill would think that he would make as little as 1 trillion a month. He's like,
Aerith really
it's like,
knows how to do it.
what? Exactly. And it's just like, you're making 1 trillion a month, and holy crap.
Think about that. The I actually have the same one of my Rorquals is I bought when they were useless when I lived in a wormhole from somebody who didn't want to move it out, right? And the funny thing is when we joined XE, like for 3 days in a row, we got wormhole openings from our wormhole into Cloud Ring. And it was just like dropping all my capitals out, just bing, 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 right? So I took it with me. So I have the first Rorqual I bought probably 5 years ago. I just truck I truck all my stuff with me everywhere I go. And it's a pain in the ass, and I may never ever do that again.
Okay, my total net worth right now is 41.7 billion.
That's pretty good for a year and a half.
Yeah.
God damn.
And what
Pretty good.
And you just
Good.
blew away 20 billion, right? You just spent 20 billion.
26.3 billion.
What can I ask what you bought for that? I mean, what the hell did you buy?
Rorqual fit and some skill injectors.
Oh, okay. So you got another one.
I got my third Rorqual go.
Nice. Start selling some shit back to the corp. We need some shit.
Hey, I got a lot of Moongo I can sell.
Sell it. I'll put up pricing.
Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, so Sigs and Squads, right? And that is probably we were talking about that earlier as one of the best ways to get people interested across the alliance and keep them busy, and it really takes the load off your corp officers, right? You don't have to sit there and you don't have 100 small corps trying to figure out how the hell to keep their guys busy when you have Sigs and Squads that keep them busy, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I would say that there is a little bit of danger there with regards to, don't be complacent and just think that, now that people can join Sigs and Squads and stuff, that you as a corp or as an alliance can't or shouldn't create content for your people. Like, you should create content for your people because it helps to actually have some, corporate spirit, some corp and some alliance kind of, not downtime, like some valuable time together.
Oh my god, and twice I tried to catch who just followed us, so I'm sorry that I missed that, but for some reason that just whipped by really quick in the display for the show.
Damn.
I talked life. I mean, it's like boom, couldn't even read it twice. So thank you for that follow, whoever that was. Yeah, I mean it's great, and there's things that corps can still do. That was me, Mira Richblood. Thank you for that follow, Mira. It's a way to keep your organization content rich, because one of the challenges you have in EVE as any alliance, right, that holds SOV, if you're not doing PvP fleet type operations, then those people will leave your corporations and you'll be left with only industry and mining folks. You will leave your organization, or they will go dormant until the next big battle.
They'll just become worse and worse at PvP when you do have to PvP, and then it's like, it's difficult to depend on your, the person next to you PvPing, because you don't know whether he knows how to, like, whether he's flying the right doctrine ship, or whether he's just flying the ship, not that, but not actually fit in the right doctrine way, or knows how to actually, I don't know, like a ghost ride, for example, or anything like that. Like,
hey, and I just saw this in chat from Mira, who just followed us, right? She said she or he, whatever, whichever, right? Said came out to Delve with $1 billion in total assets and now has 10 in 60 days. That's pretty amazing.
Bam! That is a solid recommendation there.
Yeah. And Threaten is asking you, RW, how you made your ISK in your first
Yeah, I
year.
just saw that. See, I'm one of those guys where I'm still know very little about PvP, so I did it with a lot of mining, a lot of ice mining just for straight pure ISK, sell the product. Ore mining, I just took the minerals, I built a couple of supers and sold them.
Have you
That's
been
so
splattered
impressive
across the
for your
have you been
first year and a half.
Have you been splattered across Ezekiel yet by somebody, or have you been,
I have
very
not
steadfast, determined?
really. I mean, I've got killed a couple times, but just hang on a second. I'll look up my kill board.
Nothing super bad. Nothing like,
No.
oh my god, just lost 12 billion in a raw call kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Mirror's
mean,
done some
I don't-
interesting stuff.
You don't need like RW. You don't need to post something to say this is my character. Come kill me.
No, I'm not
kind
going
of
to
thing.
post anything. I'm just going to read the numbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Danubian said training for the first work. You got a little discouraged by the cost of some of those skill books. Wait till you get the cost of those excavator drones and realize you need two
Oh,
pair if
yeah,
you're going to
those
ice and
excavators.
regular mine, right?
Yeah, excavator drones will kill you.
I think they're up to about 1.2 billion each right now, right?
I bought mine 1.153 or something like that.
Okay.
All right, my record or KD right now is 75-2.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've definitely died more than twice.
I'm definitely. I just love fleet battles. I love them.
I lost a Jackdaw and I lost an Executor, both on deployments.
Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm training up for my first roll call at the moment. I don't even have a roll call right now.
I have 3, but I only use 2 of them for mining.
The third one's there just in case if one of the 2 dies.
Port's got 30 drones and he fears the bombers. All right,
had a-
Incubus,
I
look
had
at
a
that.
friend-
He's just under $500 billion. That's pretty beautiful.
I had a friend who like back before the raw call buffs and everybody jumping on and raw call mining would mine with a mining fleet of Hulks, and he assigned his drones all of his drones to a single interceptor that he had, and if anything tried to decloak on him and pop a Sino, covert or otherwise, it would be dead before anything came through. It
Wow.
was fucking amazing. Just insta headshot, insta alpha, dead. Even if it was a cruiser, like one of the force auxiliaries, like a curse or something, or a pilgrim, it would just be dead. It'll be dead before anything came through the Sino. It's
Wow,
fucking
that's
crazy.
pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, let's.
No, it's like Jalian said there, if you're not losing at least 2 to 3 ships per day, you're not an active PvPer. And I kind of agree and disagree with that. It all depends on what kind of PvPer you are. It's going to
If you're
determine
solo-
how many ships a day you're losing.
If you're solo, then you are definitely going to lose more ships, but you are going to kill a bunch. Like if you're good at soloing, then you'll know to kill more than your ship's worth at the point where you actually lose your ship. But
Yeah, solo and small gang PvP, then yeah, you're probably going to lose, half a dozen or more a day, if you're doing it on a regular basis. But if you're doing out, like regular fleets, just looking for paps, you're not going to lose very many.
I mean, just yesterday I was in a initiative fleet and I was dual boxing an Ishtar in fleet and a Cinnabar. That was hard work.
Yeah, Marchu, look at out there. Came to Goons with nothing. He's got 50 billion after a year. That's a tribute to all the activity that's going on in Delve, right? So if you're out there and I feel safer in Delve than HiSec in my HiSec Corp, right? I mean, I fly my marketers around and I'm sitting there going, am I gonna die in my interceptor in HiSec? And then it's like flying around in nullsec and lowsec is just like, no big deal. So yeah. How about the other topic we were going to talk about? And by the way, this just plays into a little bit of it. The overall, scope of some of the underlying factors of the movie. But who out there is interested or already went to see? I saw that the judge went to see it already. Who's interested in going to see Ready Player One? And what do you think? Did you see it already, RW, or are you?
I have not, but I want to see it.
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna go see it. I haven't seen it. I've heard a lot about it, and I've read and watched a few reviews of it.
I'll probably
very
cheat
positive.
just like I did on Star Wars and just get on the Fire Stick and find it there.
there you go. The
I don't mind doing that when I'm not sure whether the film's going to be good or not, but I'm fairly certain that this film is pretty fucking amazing. So I'm going to probably end up.
When
going
you
to
live
see it.
where I live, it's kind of not a choice.
Right? Okay, that's fair enough.
I think Mrs. Eric wants to go see it just because she saw the trailers and there was a lot of '80s music.
And it's got a DeLorean in it, man.
The DeLorean.
And it's got the Iron Giant.
I mean, I want to go see it just because it's not a Spielberg movie.
Did you guys try and catch any of the Easter eggs in all the trailers?
Cultural ref-
Or not?
I watched some of the trailers.
I mean, so for
I haven't
instance,
seen
right?
a single one yet.
He's riding the Scorpion mounted with guns into battle, right? And you see like the joust bird come in and he kills it and it pops out the egg. And then when the one guy shoots Freddy Krueger, then he pulls his hand back and he gathers the coins. There's all kinds of stuff like that in all these little things. So the nostalgia is probably one of the things that hooked me. But the bigger, and by the way, I have not read the book. I knew nothing about this before Caleb a couple weeks ago said the movie was.
I would
coming out.
love to know, just a quick thing, I'd love to know how big the budget was for the clearance for that film, for all of the different pop culture references to be used in that.
Oh,
It must
yeah.
have been insane. Because
Well-
if you know anything about clearing stuff for for like general release and that kind of thing, like it's not cheap. Like even the most mundane thing is not cheap, and like
Mhm.
the amount of pop culture references and stuff like that, and registered shit that's in that film, it's huge.
Did you notice there's some mechanical device that is in the show that has the legs of not the Imperial Walkers but the smaller two-legged version of it, right? There's a little bit of Star Wars looking stuff hidden in there. The Batmobile is supposedly in there somewhere in the car race. There's supposed to be lots of interesting
the
things.
Iron Giant's in there as well, like from way back. That's more of a like a child story kind of reference.
Yes.
So yeah, the Iron Giant's in there, which is fucking awesome.
Yep. So the underlying piece of that I find fascinating, right, is these people live in a pretty shitty society, most of them, right? The world has kind of gone to shit. It's dystopia out the wazoo. And they retreat into the game, into virtual reality to have a better time, right? Or to really, truly live their lives, right? And everybody's doing it. So I mean, that part of it is interesting.
They were able to open the captain's quarters doors and walk outside. That's what
They were. But I mean, that brings us to the thing, right? Why do we play video games, and why is there such a draw for such a core group of people who don't let Eve go, right? What is it that is different about all these video games that really draws us in? I mean, there are the ones I tend not to buy are the ones that don't draw me in, right? I do not buy Far Cry. I do not buy those things and play them for 3 weeks and then throw them away, essentially, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be the truly interesting aspect of that movie to me. But like Jaliant is saying down there, he's got Iron Giant, Godzilla, Robozilla, Voltron, Blade Runner, Atari games, Zork, Joust, Pac-Man. I think I saw that his headset in his little van was on a Commodore 64 controller. That's what he uses to hang it, right? They're Garbage Pail Kids stickers on the wall. There's reference to all kinds of Japanese game companies on the cars like Sega I forget the really strange one and a couple others. I mean, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be even. I mean, there's gonna be parts of the film that I think we just like, right? Because it's just a good movie.
Yeah.
But then I think there's going to be that, Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of pop culture thing that goes on, that people just watch the movie and try and find all the references, right? Like the point where you throw toast at the screen for Rocky Horror and throw eggs and all that shit, right? Not that people are going to do that in this thing, but they're going to be sitting there watching for those things, the signals to do things, right? Or say things. I think it's going to be cool. I almost went last night, but we couldn't make it happen. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
I actually never saw a Rocky Horror Picture Show to really answer that honestly.
Really? How about you, McLeod? Am I the only
Sorry?
one? Have you ever seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I have actually seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like the film,
movie,
not like
yeah.
any kind of like the movie, yeah.
Yeah, with Meatloaf and the whole deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So RW, when I went to, as they say in England, to university, right? There was this movie theater, and it was actually shaped like a castle, and it was just, and I went in the city, right? So it was just like this weird little thing, and every single Friday night they played the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So you and people would bring eggs and toast and all the things. So at a certain, and it's been forever. I don't know when you're supposed to do it, but there's a time when you're supposed to throw toast at the screen, then you're supposed to throw eggs at the screen. And it's just weirdness, but it's funny as hell.
That'd be a mess to clean up afterward.
If the cleaners looks like we can't carry on showing this film. It's just it's destroying the actual cinema.
No, they would clean up. I mean, it was like a big thing to do. I don't know why. I mean, I was like, I had never heard of it.
You walk in on like
supposed to be rice,
clear plastic, and sitting on seats that are just covered.
See, toast at the dinner. I forget when the eggs were, or maybe it's something we just made up. I don't know. I think when
I know some movie theaters that I've been to, I'm not too sure that was egg slime on them seats.
Oh God.
I don't know that, on an internet Twitch show that I'd admit that I'd been to a movie theater like that.
It's a joke.
I know it's a joke.
God damn.
Squirt guns,
I'm sure we
squirt
broke
guns
some
for
kind
the
of
rain.
terms of service right
Maker
there.
67. Forgot about the squirt gun. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So hey, and by the way, this week we are running for an hour because we actually have a streamer meeting right after the show, so we are not going to go.
Shit.
Oh boy,
I forgot about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, good thing I reminded you, huh?
Yeah. I would say though that Ready Player One is going to be like when Ready Player One's been out for long enough, and actually CinemaSins release everything wrong with Ready Player One in however minutes or less. Like that is going to be a long thing. Because like the amount of pop culture references and stuff like that is just going to rack up the points on the CinemaSins on that particular YouTube video.
Well, I really hope it takes off. It's got some great ratings from Rotten Tomatoes and everybody else, and it's like 4.5 stars when I look on Fandango, right? So I really hope that it's done well because so many of these movies that we've really hoped that would do well, for the type of fantasy and computer game kind of genre in the movies, haven't really panned out. And I hope this one kind of grabs it in,
Yeah, and you know what? Like a lot of the actual film, from what I've at least, if the trailers are in any kind of way representative of like how much of the film is CG, how much of it's not, like there's a fair amount of CG work, like in terms of characters and in terms of like for it to actually be. I mean, I wouldn't say close to sort of like, making things like anime a little bit more mainstream, but like I think it probably will kind of start edging people, into that kind of edging like anime and that kind of stuff into more mainstream.
Yeah, I mean it'd be interesting. I mean, this is one of those things, right? So I mean, we all have this experience, right? We say, "Hey, this is why we play Eve. This is why we go into these virtual worlds and do some of this stuff. It's not necessarily complete escape from reality, right? It's because I have friends. And as you look into this game and into this movie, these people are making friends in the movie that they can't have close to home, and it's very interesting. Yeah, cause Diplo issues. Good, nice port. The so so he really does it, folks. But I mean, I truly think people who aren't involved in things that we all here are involved in our audience watching, it's very hard to explain to them what these worlds are and what they mean. I mean, they sometimes they just think you're nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe, being involved in a large group in Eve is kind of like being Ready Player One, but without the, giant mega corporation coming to try to kill you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Some people might think that.
Without coming back from the shops and then finding your place just gets blown up.
There's people out there going, God damn Imperium, fucking killing me.
I mean, unless you're fighting like certain Russians, in which case you never know. Like Russians are crazy.
Russians are a little crazy. I mean, we love them. I mean, hold it. You gotta be careful because I get in a lot of trouble
Actually,
here.
I've been thinking about this. I was actually thinking about this earlier on. You know what would be kind of, because it is like the film is quite it's not like it's set so far in the future that it's like ridiculous that that would ever happen kind of thing. It's set really close, and it has parallels to a lot of things that are happening like right now sort of thing with corporations trying to get control of stuff and all that kind of shit. But like I have to wonder whether watching Ready Player One dubbed in Russian but with English subtitles would be too scary and too close to reality.
Qui-Gon Khan is asking a question in chat. He says, does the movie or the book touch on the subject of the need for human contact? And I'll answer that question first, and I'll let you guys answer what you know. Looking at the trailers, I think that is a key aspect of the whole thing. It seems like that's sort of a key to the movie.
Yeah, the main guy in the film seems to be very much, he's not your he wasn't. It doesn't seem as though he was ever the sort of guy to be the most popular person in high school kind of thing. He definitely seems like he's one of the more introverted kind of person, kind of guy.
And Jalen's out there saying that is the whole point of the book, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that truly in a game like Eve, I think that need for human contact is what drives most players, at least in nullsec, that work in larger corporations or even medium-sized corporations, right? 100 players, 30, 40 humans. I think that's what everybody is. I just think it's a unique way to interact with other humans, just like we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
Oh, in the book, everyone is a gamer, no matter what you do in the game, right? I think I saw a scene where they're walking on the sidewalk and everybody has their little, gamer headset on, right? And, they're just walking through life. Whole world economy is based on the game. Just like the internet is today, right? And can you imagine that? Could you imagine that? Where what you do in the game becomes the economy of the world rather than what you do out of the game?
Well, it's like, I mean, if we're gonna go like a bit existential about it and stuff, like, anything in both the real world and in a virtual world, like if it has value to somebody in some way, shape, or form, it's worth something. Whether it's made out of, whether it's made out of atoms, like and rock and whatever, like I'm not saying that rock isn't made out of atoms. It clearly is. But like if it's made out of atoms or if it's made out of ones and zeros.
Whether it's made out of aluminium.
Or
Or-
aluminum, either one, either one.
Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Yes, it is. So I can't wait to see the movie, actually. I watched the trailers and I'm sucked in now. I have not read the book, but I may be very inclined to do so because I like actual books. I do not like.
Saying saying that the guy who made the book was actually there to write the screenplay. So the book, it's not one of those films that was adapted to film without the input of the guy who actually created the story and everything like that. So that's really cool. Plus, he's actually been in 2015. He was actually writing a sequel to Ready Player One, book wise anyway. So there could be a sequel to the film as well.
Oh, that's interesting. Did not know that.
If it does well. If it does well.
Yeah,
think
for
it will.
the Ultimate Zen, we are talking about Ready Player One, the movie that is out this weekend, as well as the fact that it is a book and some of the different aspects of it. I have only seen trailers. I can't believe I didn't know of this book or read it. Right? It's kind of weird. And I'm not one to go buy ebooks or things like that. I actually buy physical books. I'm weird. Have a little library upstairs.
I didn't know that the Expanse was basically a series version of a set of books. I didn't realize that. There's so much kind of sci-fi. There's so much sci-fi that comes out that's based on books. That there's so many books that come out that it's kind of difficult to catch every single one of them.
I know. The book was really hyped, similar to the Hunger Games. Really, that's really interesting. Completely missed it, and I live on Amazon, so that's even stranger to me that Amazon didn't say, "Hey, Eric, go buy this."
I get kind of triggered when people talk about the Hunger Games because the Hunger Games is basically just like a ultra western-y modernized version of an actually really decent film.
So I will admit that I bought the Hunger Games books and actually could not put them down, and I didn't even think they were that great at writing, but for some reason I couldn't put them down. And I can't read the Expanse books at all. I mean, I find the fact that as I'm reading them, I am bored shitless reading those books, but I love the show.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It is a bit weird, but it's more of a the Expanse, the books are more of a space opera, to be honest, than a thriller or something like that.
Movies are reworks of older movies. Well, today in Hollywood, that seems to be what they're doing, bringing everything back because they can't come up with anything new. And that's one of Ready Player One seems like there are two movies that I think I've seen in probably the last 6 months that I think are something that's actually new and interesting. The Greatest Showman, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, I loved it. It was fantastic. Comes out on DVD in a couple weeks here or something. I thought that was a fantastic movie, and Ready Player One seems something that's new, not really done before in the way that it's being done. I mean, I get that we had some other movies that were a little bit similar, but this one strikes me as more novel in its approach to society. I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's parallels to Ready Player One a bit more than other films to kind of people who play Eve a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you will. I think I agree with that.
So we've got skin in the game, man.
So we've got about 10 minutes left. What else do we want to talk about? We want to continue down this trail, or is there something more interesting?
I wanted to say something on Jalen's comment about all movies are reworks of all the movies all the way back to Shakespeare. I seem to not recall which films Shakespeare made.
I like how they.
I'm just pulling his leg.
Actually, I truly like Shakespeare. I find his work hilarious.
Yeah.
What was the?
I know that I did the Tempest back at school and stuff, and Much Ado About Nothing, I think, was that's quite funny.
What was the the movie where the kids thought they were playing a video game, but in actuality they were sending troops to their death to beat.
Oh, I know which one. I know which one you're talking about.
And I can't place it, but that is one that I think just didn't pull it off from the representation of what was really going on. I mean, it was Ender's Game. Yeah, I didn't like how that represented, and that's where I'm hoping that this one succeeds. And
there were a lot of moments in Ender's Game where I was just like, oh, that's cringy.
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of moments in that where I was just like, oh, that's a really cringy kind of, you know, exchange of like, you know, various insults and shit like that.
Yeah. See, and I did not think Ender's Game was a lot like Eve at all. I mean, other than you were sending ships to battle. I mean, the kids really thought that they were leveling up and doing better and better and better. They knew that eventually they would be guiding ships in war. But they truly thought that the last battle, they weren't sending people to their death, and they were. And that's kind of what messed them up, right?
Yeah, they just basically thought that what they were doing there was basically the final exam in their education. That's it.
Yeah,
and like the Kobashi Maru, you know, it's a reference for you.
Yep, and everybody's saying, "Hey, the movie," and that's what I'm saying. The movie just kind of sucked. It was like Disney, but it wasn't Disney. You know what I'm saying?
It had an interesting message in it. Like at the end, when like he realizes what happens and then, you know, does what he does, kind of thing. Like, well, I don't want to put spoilers and stuff like that out there, but
it's a couple.
It had a
years
good message,
old.
but like, yeah, it's a couple of years old. And to be fair, the other kind of actually saying that, like a couple of being, you know, in terms of sci-fi that we watched recently, like I have been recently watching Battlestar Galactica back, and I have to remind myself that it's like, what's it, like over a decade old.
I know, isn't that weird? The remake.
And you look at it and you go, yeah, the remake, and it's over a decade old, and you kind of go, you look at it and you go, shit, that's a decade old. That hasn't aged badly. That's aged so well.
Yeah, and you know what's really scary is I remember like the original release of the original show.
Oh yeah. No, I remember seeing that.
I remember waiting for Space 1999 to come on every week, and I went back and looked at some reruns of that like on YouTube, and like, holy shit, that badly. Sucked.
There's some things that definitely have aged badly.
Is unrivaled in Space 1999. But it was such a good thing.
Definitely. But yeah, like if any of you have like Twitch Prime and stuff like that you've been, you know, subbing to certain channels too, like FYI, Twitch Prime Video, not Twitch Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video has like Battlestar Galactica series 1 to 4 of 5, like on Twitch Prime. So that's what I've been doing. I've been watching it on Twitch Prime. And thankfully, I've got the 5th series on DVD anyway, so I can watch that.
Mira and I are on the same wavelength here. Firefly, Babylon 5. I was a huge Babylon 5 fan, and I know a lot of people out there were kind of like,
there's people who like hate on Babylon 5, but like there's a lot of really awesome things about B5. Completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really good. Some of their challenges were their budget, right? Can you imagine a Babylon 5 with like a real special effects budget? I mean, how cool that could have been.
B5 with the budget of like The Expanse would be fucking great.
Oh, it would be amazing. It would be amazing. And what scares me is the fact that sci-fi has screwed up so many things other than The Expanse, and they seem to have hit it out of the ballpark with that one. Never seen Babylon 5.
Actually, yeah, I was about to say,
Corp Show Night.
Really, really good. It's really, really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's really, really good. Like, it has a lot of the it does have the diplomacy kind of thing to it, but like, the diplomacy thing is all about like character development.
Yeah, there is some. Yeah, so So
And you can't have a show without character. You can't have a series that goes on for like 4 or 5 series without character development, because then it doesn't end up with 4 or 5 series. It ends up with 2, and then whoever's making it, or whoever's like financing it, goes, people hate it, people aren't watching it. I'm cutting the show because it's fucking terrible.
So when you've lived in one place for over 2 decades, right? You tend to accumulate stuff in your house. So some of you may not know this yet, but you will learn it, right? It's just like you accumulate so much stuff. So I know that there is a cabinet in the corner of our family room, and the son of a bitch is stocked full of old VHS tapes.
Old school.
And I guarantee that 90% of them were the Babylon 5 episodes in order, as we taped them every single week, my wife and I.
I think my dad did that at some point. He taped the Babylon 5 episodes.
Yeah.
He's probably got like a whole bunch of tapes that have got Babylon 5 episodes.
We
on it.
really need to throw them away. It's very sad because I have them all on DVD, right? But yeah, it's it was funny. It was the one thing we actually traveled, and maybe someday I'll show pictures. I actually have 3 chalk sketches of the entire cast with all their signatures in gold. And then there was War Without End Part 1, and I forget what the third one was. But they're huge. I mean, they're huge. And they're in our not our family room. They're in one of those rooms over there. I forget what the hell they're called. And so we got them, but we actually traveled places to, like, we went to meet Peter Jurassic. We went to meet everybody. It was kind of cool. So it's the only thing that we would go. Throwing away VHS tapes is heresy. Here's Steel Horse. Here's the thing.
I'm wondering. This is the reason why Babylon 5 didn't make as much money and didn't go for more series. It's like everyone taped them and didn't buy the DVD.
No, I bought the DVDs. Don't worry, I bought the DVDs. I don't have. We have this thing of VHS tapes. We don't have a VHS player.
Yeah, yes, like. I was actually reminded of probably the it's in one of the spy kind of series that I watch every so often, but the best way of actually doing secure talking to people securely as a spy kind of thing is not to use highly sophisticated technology. It's to use such outdated technology that no one's got the fucking things to read it anymore.
Hey, well,
Betamax.
Aramis is making me feel better because he said he recorded some, but his are out in the garage. So there you go. Well, hey, that's pretty much the show this week. We'll be back next week with more interesting stuff. Hopefully there'll be a little more going on in Eve. It's been a quiet week in Eve, right? Leading up spring break and all that stuff going on.
It hasn't been too much of a quiet week. Something happened on Sunday/Monday, which was quite significant, 3 trillion significant.
Really? You want to talk about it real quick?
Yeah, PL and NC Dot tried to jump on Test, and Test fucked them up.
Oh yeah. Sorry,
300 something, 400 fucking Dreads died. I saw the battle report for it. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, there's a video on YouTube where Killer Bee kind of does a brief explanation from pandemic from NC and PL's kind of perspective on why they did what they did. It's there somewhere. I think I'll find it and post it in the chat. But yeah, something to look at.
Oh yeah, Port. I think I was in that fleet too, and we oh yeah, we're going, but we're not going, and then we came home with 4.5 hours or 5 hours of freaking AIDS. Yeah, we're not going to make it there in time. They killed them all already. Test killed them all. It's woohoo, go Test. All right, Alrighty, guys. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate everybody tuning into the show. We're going to have some more interesting stuff next week. See if we can get a couple guests, maybe some interesting conversations, some interesting insights. And, maybe we'll, talk about the Masters just a little bit. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you later.